Copy 539.
Yep. Countdown clock.
We have just 5 seconds left in this built-in hold.
2, 1.
And we're now at T-minus 8 minutes, 59 seconds, and counting.
Sequence has been initiated.
The ground launch sequencer has been activated, and the STS-58 terminal countdown is underway. All of the countdown events are now being handled by the ground launch sequencer up until the T-minus 31 second mark, when responsibility for the countdown is handed over to Columbia's onboard computers.
STM NTD 1043, 1044, not performed. Copy.
Okay. NTD, CISL, recorders are activated.
Copy.
1007.
I copy, thank you.
PLT, OTC, configure fuel cell essential bus storage switches. That's in work.
T-minus 8 minutes and counting.
OTC, PLT, essential bus source fuel cell switches complete. Copy.
T-minus 7 minutes, 30 seconds, and the ground launch sequencer has initiated retraction of the orbiter crew access arm away from Columbia. This bridge between the orbiter and the launch tower can be reinstalled back in place within 15 seconds if need be. T-minus 7 minutes, 10 seconds, and counting. T-minus 6 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting.
KRPS, OTC, start APU and hydraulic strip chart recorders. RPS can verify recorders are running. PLT, OTC, perform APU pre-start. APU pre-starts in work.
Orbiter test conductor Brian Monborn has given pilot Rick Searfoss the okay to perform the auxiliary power unit pre-start procedure.
212.
Go SRO.
Yes, sir. We are no-go for an intruder aircraft at this time. Request you hold the countdown clock.
CLS, hold the clock at 5 minutes.
Copy. The countdown clock will hold at T-minus 5 minutes.
And SRO, NTD, any estimation when will be clear the area?
Stand by 1 moment, sir.
The countdown clock will hold at T-minus 5 minutes.
OTC, PLT, APU pre-start complete. Okay. Pre-grade talkbacks. I copy that. Now just stand by for a second, please.
SRO, NTD.
NTD SRO on 212.
Yes, sir, any estimation?
Sir, that situation is cleared. We are go, and you have arranged clear to launch.
I copy. Launch directory, copy?
I copy, and you have go to proceed.
Copy that. CLS, resume the count on your mark.
CLS copies. Countdown clock will resume on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. CLS is go for orbiter APU start. Copy. PLT, OTC, perform APU start. APU starts in work.
Orbiter test conductor Brian Monborn has given our pilot Rick Searfoss the command to start Columbia's auxiliary power unit.
Configuration.
Once the pilot completes this task, hydrazine will begin flowing into the holding tanks of the orbiter's auxiliary power units.
Heater reconfiguration complete. OTC, PLT, APU start is complete. 3 good APUs. I copy.
Columbia's pilot reporting that we have 3 good APUs. Due to the intrusion of an aircraft into the launch area, launch of Columbia will come 8 seconds late at 10:53:08. T-minus 4 minutes, 6 seconds, and counting.
QLS's go for bird sequence 4.
T-minus 3 minutes, 50 seconds, and a test of Columbia's flight controls is started. These aero surfaces, such as the rudder, elevons, and speed brakes, are being cycled through a programmed test pattern to verify that they are ready for flight. T-minus 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and we are now transferring over to internal power and switching Columbia off of ground power. At this point, the orbiter is being powered by its onboard fuel cells. T-minus 3 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting. T-minus 3 minutes, and Columbia's engines in the final stages of being ready for flight. T-minus 2 minutes, 55 seconds.
Q pressurization.
And the external tank's gaseous oxygen vent hood is being moved out of place in the next few seconds. At 37 seconds before launch, the ground launch sequencer will make a final check to assure that the vent hood is positioned well away from the space shuttle.
Verify no unexpected errors.
Caution warning, memory clears and work.
Orbiter test conductor Brian Monborn requested pilot Rick Searfoss to clear the ship's caution and warning memory system.
OTC TLT, caution and warning, memory clear, complete, no unexpected errors.
Retraction of the external tank's gaseous oxygen vent hood is now in work.
Close and lock your visors, initiate O2 flow. This time we're going to send you.
Roger that, closing visors, pseudo-2 on.
Orbiter test conductor Brian Monborn instructing the flight crew to close and lock their visors. T-minus 1 minute, 50 seconds, and counting.
One minute, 30 seconds.
T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds, and counting. T-minus 1 minute, 10 seconds, and the ground launch sequencer is now checking that Columbia's 3 main engines are ready for ignition. The final word of their readiness should come at about T-minus 10 seconds when ground launch sequencer engineer George Thomas gives the go for main engine start. T-minus 51 seconds and counting. The solid rocket booster heaters have been turned off. T-minus 31 seconds, and we have auto sequence start, and Columbia is now in charge of its own launch countdown. T-minus 24 seconds. T-minus 20. All systems remain go at T-minus 15 seconds.
10. TLS go for main engine start.
T-minus 6, 5, 4. We have main engine start. 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Columbia on a life sciences mission for Earth and space.
Houston's now controlling.
Houston, Columbia, roll program.
Roger, roll, Columbia. Mission Control sees a good roll maneuver, placing Columbia on the proper heading. 3 good engines at 100%. Engines are throttling back now. easing Columbia through the dense lower altitudes, but continuing to accelerate very rapidly. Columbia is already traveling over 650 miles per hour. Time 45 seconds. All systems are performing well. All three engines at 67% rated thrust. And three engines are throttling up.
Columbia Houston, go at throttle up.
All engines are now running at full throttle. All systems performing well. Altitude 67,000 feet, downrange distance 8 nautical miles. Columbia is traveling over 1,000 miles per hour. Columbia continues to climb at a relatively steep angle at this point, tripling its rate of speed over the next minute. Solid rocket boosters, each delivering 3.3 million pounds of thrust, will burn out and separate at 2 minutes 3 seconds. Time now 1 minute 48 seconds. Altitude 115,000 feet, downrange distance 18 nautical miles. SRB chamber pressure is tailing off. And Mission Control sees a good booster separation. Columbia is now flying free, powered by its own main engines. Second stage guidance is now in effect. Altitude 184,000 feet, downrange distance 35 nautical miles.
Columbia Houston, performance nominal.
Roger, Kurt. Performance nominal.
That call confirms that the boosters have once again done the job that they're designed to do, and the main engines as well. Altitude now 222,000 feet, downrange 48 nautical miles. Columbia is now traveling over 3,000 miles per hour.
Columbia Houston, two-engine Ben Guerrier.
Two-engine Ben Guerrier.
Columbia can now cross the Atlantic Ocean with only two engines should one fail. Altitude is now 263,000 feet, downrange distance 68 nautical miles. At this altitude, Columbia's flight path is beginning to level out a bit, shedding more and more weight as propellant burns off and continuing its rapid acceleration. Columbia is now traveling over 3,800 miles per hour, altitude 295,000 feet, downrange 85 nautical miles. All systems are performing well, time 3 minutes 36 seconds.
Columbia Houston, negative return.
Negative return.
A return to the launch site is at this point no longer an option as Columbia continues downrange. Altitude now 352,000 feet, downrange distance 149 nautical miles. Columbia is now traveling nearly 5,000 miles per hour. Three engines are continuing to burn at 104% rated thrust. Good hydraulic system, good electrical systems. Altitude now 367,000 feet. Downrange distance 183 nautical miles. Time 5 minutes 10 seconds. All systems are performing well.
Columbia Houston, press to ATO.
Roger, press to ATO.
Columbia Houston, Droop Ben Greer 109.
Loop Ben 109.
Columbia has gained at this point enough momentum to reach a safe orbit should one engine fail. Altitude's now 381,000 feet, downrange distance 278 nautical miles. Time 6 minutes 5 seconds. All systems are continuing to perform very well. We're standing by for the press to MECO call.
Columbia Houston, press to MECO.
Press to MECO.
Columbia Houston, single engine Ben Greer 104.
Single engine Ben.
Columbia now has enough momentum to make a normal insertion to orbit with only two engines should one fail. Altitude's now 376,000 feet, downrange distance 392 nautical miles. Columbia is traveling nearly 10,000 miles per hour and could now make a transatlantic flight with only one engine should that become necessary. Time 6 minutes 56 seconds.
Columbia Houston, single engine press 104.
Single engine press 104.
Should two engines fail beyond this point, Columbia could still reach a safe orbit with a remaining engine at 104% rated thrust. Altitude is now 366,000 feet, downrange distance 520 nautical miles. Columbia is actually beginning to dip back down into the atmosphere at this point, giving altitude in order to gain velocity as Columbia continues to accelerate towards orbital velocity. Columbia's downrange 590 miles.
Columbia Houston, no action on your fuel cell pH message.
Okay, thank you. We copy that.
Time 8 minutes 10 seconds. Three engines are throttling back now to maintain structural loads within the 3G limit. Just about 15 seconds away from main engine cutoff.
Houston, Columbia, MECO 25. 8:15, MECO confirmed.
Columbia Houston, we copy. Columbia Houston, nominal MECO, no ohms 1 required. You are go for the photo DTO.
Roger, go.
And we have confirmation that Columbia has come off the external tank and is flying free now in an orbit of 148 by 42 nautical miles. As the external tank peels away and begins to fall behind and below Columbia, one of the crew members will move to the overhead windows and attempt to photograph the external tank as it falls back to Earth. Columbia is continuing on in its 149 by 42 nautical mile orbit. That low end of the orbit will be raised with an ohms burn. That burn will serve to circularize Columbia's orbit at 153 nautical miles. Coming up in about 25 seconds, crew of Columbia will be given a go to start the main propulsion system fuel dump. At this point, everything looks very clean. We had a very clean climb to orbit.